refocus, but we are seconds away from the beginning of the critical second game, and they are off. And Kramnik, well, he's opening with his king's pawn. Petrov
opening. Kramnik knows a little something about.
He certainly does. And there he goes, and we have a very symmetrical pawn structure. Actually, position full stop. And now the dragon develops and starts hovering around the black knight. And, well, Abdusattorov says,
all of this is still theory, and actually there's a pet line of Abdusattorov's coach, Rustam Kazimchanov, who used it to good effect as pawn to c4, pawn to c6, and then pawn to c5, trying to gain space on the queen side and pushing for a tight edge here. But Abdusattorov obviously knows what he's dealing with. Probably Kazim informed him about that line, and not spending any time, not sweating, heart rate 95. Well prepared young man.
He is well prepared. I'm slightly disappointed that they followed the paths of theory and didn't keep the position completely symmetrical. But here we go. There's some tiny imbalances in the position. White's managed to get some play, some pressure on the center, and here comes the expansion. Kramnik going for the big clamp. Now he's going to back that up by a4, b5.
Push on the queen side, but black does have a very sturdy position. Abdusattorov is not gonna wait around for the white pawns to push. But instead goes for counterplay, double-edged, because they say you should not open the position on the side where you're weaker, but touch the pawns there. Abdusattorov doesn't care.
Yeah, and instead he is also trying to get some counterplay there on the E line. Good idea to cover the entry points, and Kramnik says, no, actually, I'm just simply gonna throw the B pawn forward, and black, you've got nothing on the E line.
His rooks both occupy open files though, so it doesn't strike me as particularly dangerous. For Abdusattorov, he has to find a way to get his queen out of that pin, so his knight can jump to the middle of the board, move like queen to c8 maybe, yeah, there he goes. So freeing up the horsey.
Yeah, and Kramnik actually scoring a new low. He's down to 114 at some point. It's now gone up to 117,
so
and the heart rate's very, very calm. And Abdusattorov barely using any time on the clock, and also with a very steady heart rate of 107. He's a controlled young man. And this seen a trade of rooks. The position looks very level to me.
That's what Abdusattorov does. He plays very solid openings, he knows them well, he plays them very quickly, tries to avoid blunders, put pressure on the clock. If it comes to an endgame, he's excellent at that too. He's very, very hard to beat in this format. And now that Kramnik did not manage to get an edge in the opening, I do not see Abdusattorov losing this game. Black is very stable. The king can come to g7, the knight goes to e6. His plan of pushing the b pawn no longer does so much damage, because as you've taught us, if you have less space, you exchange some minor pieces. That's what he's done. So it should not be a big deal.
No. And I like the way that he's mobilizing his forces. And ooh, nice move.
b5, stopping the white breakthrough there. I prefer black's position actually. Computer didn't like this b5 that much, but it says it's still roughly balanced.
Yeah, I agree with
Rook to a4, get it past her.
Yeah, I like that move as well. I also quite like the idea of... there you go!
Does Nodirbek. Kramnik takes, he picks up the gauntlet. Now he could push his pawn to b5, but it's risky, because black would take and then support his a-pawn with his queen. It's become double-edged.
It is double-edged.
I don't like white's chances here.
Well, the computer is saying that black is slightly better, but white's position is more than defensible, and now Kramnik stepping
slow move, very slow move.
King, just to cover those weaknesses on the king side.
Queen is not going there, he wants to go to a6 and push the a-pawn.
That's right. Well, there it is.
The queen.
But Kramnik has a very solid position. You know, the knights defend each other. I mean, it's not very aggressive, but you know,
Black knight has to come to b5 and support that pawn. It's a long maneuver, but maybe it can be done. Move the bishop, knight to c7, knight to b5. Do we have time?
Yeah, you have time, but white also has a plan of putting the knight to b1 and rerouting to c3. There you go.
we're just getting started. Knight c7, knight c3, queen d3, and this could get very messy.
Well,
Here we are.
we're in for a lot of fun because this is Armageddon chess and we are gonna be entertained. What's wrong with
We
knight
should
c-
praise us. We spot the same maneuvers, just slightly more quickly. It's like Nakamura said about Chris Littlejohn and Kasparov. They come to the same conclusions, just Chris a little quicker.
Well, I thought it was the reverse.
No, no,
Normally
no.
I'm
That's
quite a
what it
slow one. Okay, there goes knight goes to
Oh, he's
b5.
giving up the pawn, but he's activating his pieces to the max. Still, it's a pawn. Something's gone wrong for Nodirbek. Doesn't look like he's much worse, but of course that a pawn was quite a trump. Now
Well,
his king has to pay some attention,
he
because
also-
if you go away with the bishop, queen a8, knight d7 was there, putting pressure on the king.
Ooh, tricky move by Nodirbek.
Nice
Because
move.
seemingly
Pinning.
you can come with the queen to a8, but there's problems with the white knight on f3 and the king. Knight takes d4 could be in the air. Ooh, this is heating up nicely, and Kramnik now under a minute. His heart rate has risen to 129.
Calculating
It
what to do.
is
Knight
getting-
c8, knight d7. There comes the knight.
Whatever Kramnik can make any move except not move the bishop from the d8 h4 diagonal. Don't do that. Step up with the
king
king.
to g7 looks like a normal move for up to Satorov. He's hesitating, but there he goes. Pawn to h4, and he takes it. Tactic. If the pawn
Nice.
takes, then there's a queen check. So up to Satorov with his little trick regained the pawn.
And
But is this the end of the story? Nice spot by Nodirbek, who now is going for the attack. G5, G4 coming. Kramnik still has a defense. Queen e1 offering the queen exchange. They're both so resilient, and Vladimir Kramnik with an extra pawn might still be better here.
yes, he certainly is. And the players now both under the minute. And as you say, Kramnik with a better position. He has a beautiful passed pawn on a c5. That is one that is going to win the game as long as Kramnik can consolidate the position. And he steps forward with the queen, attacks the g5 pawn. This is dangerous, very dangerous for Abdusattorov. He is
Just be bad. He
treading.
will continue looking for counterplay. Knight to c3, hinting at knight to d1. But does it work? The computer seems to say no, it does not. How do you punish him?
You just take the pawn.
Knight to d1. Then is there a trick?
I don't see any
Just
other
queen to
problem. Take the
f4,
pawn and move the queen.
Take the pawn. Leave the cannoli.
Ooh. And if Kramnik wins this game, that means he is going straight through to the final.
Up to
Abdusattorov will
Satorov
be
on the
eliminated.
brink of elimination.
23 seconds, and the young Uzbeki is in big trouble on the board.
Nothing works. He wanted to put the knight to d1 and take the queen. The queen goes to f4, and then if the knight gets taken, there's
10
a check.
seconds.
So he has to go for something else in this desperation. But he's a very resourceful player, even in desperate situations.
Ooh, is there a threat? No threat.
Almost, but the knight on h3 covers it.
How many seconds? 9
Still
seconds
some.
for Kramnik.
How do you add fuel to the flames here? Takes the pawn.
Okay, one pawn has dropped off for Kramnik, and he's just on his seconds, and we
Check.
give a check.
And
This
the
is all
pawn
good.
runs. This is good enough. Everything's protected.
You throw in some checks, build in some time, but Kramnik goes, nope, I'm going to grab some material. But Kramnik has to keep an eye on the clock. He only has 11 seconds left.
He does get 2 seconds per move. I think he's in control here. This knight on h3 just does such a great job covering everything.
Okay, I completely agree with you. But the bishop on b6 is a great blockader. It can cause some issue. Okay. Oh,
go
don't
away.
pick up the c pawn.
We're near
Anything
the
except that one.
end here, but can Kramnik put it all together? Queen to d8, nice move. Hinting at queen g5 check yet again. Pawns are also rolling. There comes a check. Just trying to gain some time.
Yeah.
This is the phase where we see
3
sometimes
seconds.
some struggles from Kramnik down to his last seconds. He's
And
still
the
much
panic is real. And both players on seconds, and
Oh,
Kramnik just doesn't seem to be just collecting his thoughts. He's there repeating the position. Oh, hang on a second.
Nodirbek is claiming that was not the cleanest way to move the queen. I mean, it made it to the square. It's not fully centralized, but these kids, they don't allow Kramnik get away with anything. I like it.
Yeah.
Tanya will check the replay, give Vladimir his first warning or not, and we shall continue. The problem with Nodirbek calling the arbiter is he gives Kramnik a time to catch his breath and think about the position. And Kramnik is, of course, completely winning on the board, so giving him this extra minute to consider the position might really backfire, because now he can use it to formulate a plan. I think it was better to leave him there in this 5-second state. Well, now, of course, they pretend like they're arguing, but he's thinking about the winning plan.
Well, these players, they know all the stunts and all the tricks.
No, but I think Nodirbek tricked himself. Yeah, here we can see Kramnik a little shaky. That wasn't what Nodirbek took issue with.
I mean, I just wondered whether it was a threefold repetition that he's claiming.
I don't think so. You think he's not claiming foul play, but a threefold?
Yeah.
But it wasn't, was it?
I didn't feel it was, but it wouldn't be for that wobble, right?
Move the pieces properly. But you could be right.
Okay. And the players discussing with the arbiter.
What are they arguing? If the piece made it to e5 or not?
I have no idea. But there we can actually see the heart rates of both the players while
Nodirbek's heart rate is going up. It's never been as high as when he's debating. I'm enjoying this. We should have this more often.
We should definitely. And the arbiter is such an important part of the game when it comes to Armageddon chess. And Tanya Karoli, she's been an international arbiter since 2016. She's got a degree in applied mathematics, is also fluent in Greek, English, and what else? Spanish?
I have no idea. I don't speak any of these languages. Nodirbek seems to be having a great time there, smiling. He's on the verge of elimination here, but seems very laid back.
Oh.
What are they doing? Did he resign? What's going on?
Well,
why would he resign? They agreed to draw. Wow, that's a good deal for Nodirbek. That's why he was so happy.
It was a threefold repetition.
So he was right about the threefold. How do you even think of that with no time on the clock? That's just amazing.
Oh,
Didn't even occur to me.
And Nodirbek surviving
Is that what happened?
a lost position.